Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Friends List. We're here in the Polygon headquarters in New York City, but we are joined across the pond by our senior reporter, Emily Gera. Welcome, Emily.
Thank you very much. Hello from far, far away.
Indeed. So we've brought you on here because you are, I would say, our resident MOBA expert. Is that fair to say? I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Yeah, I wouldn't say resident expert so much as the only person who can actually be bothered to play them. But yeah, it's close enough. So
yeah, I will admit that I have not played LOL, League of Legends. I've not played Dota. I have, however, played the game that we're going to be focusing on today, and that game is Heroes of the Storm, which is coming out from Blizzard right now. It's in alpha, and that's sort of what I wanted to focus on because it feels like there are so many of these in this genre, which is like it's very specific genre, but a lot of like interesting variations to it. And I sort of wanted to talk to you about it. Like, is Blizzard essentially just taking an idea that existed, putting like adding StarCraft characters, adding Diablo, and putting it out there, or are they making meaningful changes to this genre? Is Heroes of the Storm basically a ripoff, or is it something completely new?
So the short answer is no. Basically,
it's not
Blizzard. No. It's not. I would say it's not even remotely the same kind of animal. With League of Legends and Dota and that kind of the games that came before it, those are heavily competitive. Those are extremely difficult games, and Blizzard has gone a slightly different route where they're trying to create a MOBA game basically for the masses. And the masses largely don't really want to play big, scary MOBA games. And right now, that's kind of all that exists, you know? League of Legends and Dota are damn hard. You know, you're meant to really obsess over them. If you want to be any good at all, then you need to just break your back. But Blizzard are kind of... They're trying to create a game that... both is a lot easier, a lot less of a barrier to entry to get into it, which is a good thing, absolutely a great thing. They're also trying to sort of bypass the classic issues of MOBA games, and that's the fact that MOBA games are filled with jerks. You know,
Yes.
Nobody who plays MOBA games is a good person. You know, once you get into there, you can be the nicest person in the world in real life, but once you get into League of Legends, you're just a bastard.
It's dreadful.
It's horrible.
It is. It's really bad. I wanted to take each of these points one by one. So
Sure.
Could you talk me through sort of the gameplay of like a basic Heroes of the Storm match and how that compares to, say, League of Legends?
Yeah, so Heroes of the Storm... obviously, we're in alpha right now, so things are going to change. It's a bit difficult to really judge at this point. But it's very focused around teamwork, much more so than probably any of the other major MOBAs. In any MOBA, you'll play in a team of 5 other people. But there's kind of a sense of you are your role, you know what you're doing. That's kind of it, you know. There's generally, if you're a healer, that is what you do. If you are ADC, which is one of the character types in it, then, you know, you're the one who sort of carries the team, and that's your role.
What is ADC? I don't know what that is.
ADC, it basically means that by the end of the game, you're the one who's getting all the kills.
Oh, okay.
You're the one who's kicking all the ass.
You're the rock star of the team.
You're the rock star.
Lead singer.
You are, yeah. You are, you're the Paul McCartney of your little 5-man team. But with Heroes of the Storm, they take a slightly different stance where kind of, it's basically, you know, there's no I in team kind of philosophy.
Sure.
Everybody is on more equal playing ground than you would see in other MOBAs. And the one interesting thing about that is in LOL in particular, there's a very feisty community. And Riot, which is the developer of League of Legends, they've been trying to kind of fight that issue of players just being jerk faces, you know, and they are awful. But you know, the developers really been working on sort of trying to work out how do we make people nice? How do we make people sort of get along? And Blizzard's answer is, well, okay, let's get rid of this idea of having kind of rock stars. You know, let's get rid of that. And so instead of having characters who exist only to like farm minions, which is the in-game sort of AI, they've taken away the ability to make money in the game. So in League of Legends, you would kill a minion, you would get gold from that.
Sure.
And so if your buddy comes along, kills that minion before you do, he'll get the gold. And immediately, obviously, you're competing for that minion, and there's going to be a fight that breaks out.
The priority situation in favor of just your immediate benefit.
And the issue with that is obviously, you know, there's going to be infighting. And so Blizzard had said, okay, no, let's just get rid of gold overall. Let's get rid of the economy. Don't need that. People are just going to fight over it.
Sure. That's definitely a step in the right direction.
It's interesting, yeah, but it also gets rid of quite a lot of the complexity of the game.
But there's still progression, right, in Heroes of the Storm. You're still unlocking things.
So yeah, there's a basic sense of progression, but not to the level of League of Legends. In League of Legends, you'll have gold will get you items make you a better player. And Heroes of the Storm, no gold, no items. You do level up, but you level up as a team as a whole, as opposed to as an individual character. And which again is interesting in the sense that it kind of gets rid of this sense of, you know, if somebody screws me over, then I'm going to be angry. We're going to have sort of infighting. And so the result is that just everybody is in it together.
Sure. So do you lose that progress if you go and play with another team?
Play with another team in what sense?
Like you were saying, so the experience is across the team. Is it just shared across your own team? And then when you leave and play with another group, you're keeping that experience, that progression carries with you. Is that right?
Well, it's experience that's earned in that game.
Right. Okay.
So
but there's
for
from
each
game to game, there's no
game.
benefit. Like if you played 50 games, you have no advantage over someone that's only played one.
Oh no, sorry. Yeah, you absolutely would. So you do get sort of an overall gold in the game, which you can use to buy characters. But there's less of a meta, which means that there's less going on within the actual matches. So you don't get gold in the matches, and you can't buy things within the matches.
Sure. I know one thing that Blizzard has done to sort of curtail jerks in Hearthstone is essentially preventing people from talking. Now, I realize these are very cooperative games. MOBAs involve a lot of teamwork. Do you think there's a feasible way to have a MOBA and prevent people from communicating with specific chat and still make it playable?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're kind of trying to do that in Heroes of the Storm. You know, with Riot likes to have a chatty community, and they're talkative. But with Heroes of the Storm, you get like a small chat box, and that's kind of, you know, you make do.
Sure.
But there's no real sense of active communication. You can obviously do things like TeamSpeak or talk on Skype or, you know, whatever, if you already know the people that you're grouping with. But in terms of actively chatting with strangers on the internet, you know, that doesn't really seem to be happening right now. Again, it's in alpha, so things are constantly changing, but yeah.
Do you think by the nature of the game being more friendly to newcomers, like it doesn't require quite as much communication? Do you think that's why people are a bit quieter?
Probably. It's an easier game just generally. So I think the result of that is you don't really need to strategize to the extreme like you do in Dota or League of Legends. There is still an element of strategy involved. So the maps in Heroes of the Storm are a lot more complicated than probably most maps in League of Legends. You generally have objectives for each map, and those tend to be the focus of the actual game. That you reach this objective, you do X, and that's it. Whereas with League of Legends, generally you have 3 lanes. You run up lane, you try to beat the other team.
Sure.
So there's more going on in the actual match, but at the same time, there's less of this kind of meta going on. There's less in the way of having to, I guess, do anything other than kill the other team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more straightforward.
Yeah.
And do you think that doesn't bode well for the future of Heroes of the Storm? Do you think it'll have the same sort of fervent fan base that LoL and Dota have?
Well, I mean, the thing with Heroes of the Storm is that obviously you have Blizzard's name slapped on it. So sure. There's always going to be people who are going to play it. And I think that it's still going to have a fervent fan base, but what it's not going to have is a fervent pro gaming fan base. I can't really see that happening, because even though the maps are quite interesting, and they definitely are, they're definitely sort of, they're well put together, but it's not something that you would watch as an esport.
Okay. Now, I would think that when I first started playing Hearthstone, I would think that, and now all I can do is watch Hearthstone replays of matches, which is by far the lamest thing I've ever admitted.
Yeah.
But, I feel like the impression I get from Blizzard games is that it's presented to you in a very simple way, simple concepts, but there's a crazy level of depth within that. But it sounds to me like you're saying there really isn't with Heroes of the Storm.
The depth of Heroes of the Storm is basically the maps.
Sure.
It's the fact that you have these layers of objectives within the maps, and that's where the interest is. In terms of depth of gameplay, I would say no. It's
okay.
You hit, you hope for the best, you win. There's some characters that will sort of continuously respawn, but it's a lot easier. It's a lot more friendly to the non MOBA player. But it's not a dumb game. And I think it's very easy to confuse the two. It's easier, but it's not a stupid, overly simplified MOBA. It's just it has a slightly different philosophy, and it's sort of trying to balance two things, which is we want to kind of jump into this MOBA idea because that people like that and it's fun, but we also want to get rid of this really toxic community that tends to bubble up in most of these games.
Sure. Understandable. Yeah. It does seem like they are good at that, and I hope that it is successful. I know in terms of money making, it's similar with the other MOBAs insofar as you can pay to permanently unlock the characters, whereas normally there's sort of a rotation of playable free characters. And they have the costume customizations, which I'm embarrassed to admit I find pretty fantastic.
I'm liking the unicorn mount too.
Oh, I haven't seen the unicorn mount. I saw the chef outfit for the zombie guy, which was really funny. I don't know if there's a Murloc outfit for one of them, but I don't know, for some reason that's the stuff that I get attached to is lame customization stuff.
You're just a big nerd, Frush.
I'm a giant nerd. I've never denied it. Well, that was really edifying. I now feel like I have a better sense as to what they're doing. As I said, I played a little bit of it. I'm by no means an expert, but I think, as you said, LOL and Dota are very scary games for newcomers because the community is so hostile. And hopefully, if Blizzard's able to pull this off and make a much more friendly, approachable environment for newcomers, could be a game that I could actually get really into. So thank you so much for joining us, Emily. It was a delight to have you.
Thank you very much.
And I just want to remind our audience, we will be here every weekday, right at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's, I don't know, 1 p.m. Pacific, probably. And we will be here every weekday. So make sure you tune in with new timely topics of all the latest news here on Friends List. Thanks for watching.